back again to Love and Action Daily Boost program. We're in week 15 of the year. And of course, y'all know me. I'm Dr. Flo, online coach and mentor, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're always going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. Every Sunday, we are joined in the hot seats by the amazingly talented, multi-passionate, biracial herself, Tara Priolo Studio. Who else are you today in the world, my love?
A mom and a Minnesotan and a football watcher. I, I also talk about the issue nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. Yeah, I think that's all I am today. Well,
And you are enough. You've always been enough.
thank you.
You're always going to be enough. We gather every Sunday in our root chakra. It's all about I am. I'm enough. I'm loved and lovable. I'm full. I'm safe. I'm enough. I'm capable. I'm able to handle it. I'm able to handle me. I'm able to handle others. I'm able to stand. I'm able to be strong. I am strong. I am confident. I'm capable. And so that's how we root ourselves on Root Chakra Day every week in the network. Of course, as I said earlier, this is week 15. We're going to get to that in a second because we need to go a little bit in reverse into week 14 and
Yeah,
tear some
y'all.
there, and then we'll go for it.
Last week was a wild. Y'all know that I don't think either Dr. Flo or I did boosts on the corrected days last week. It's just
Maybe you've got like multiple retrogrades happening if you believe in that. I know that my brain is definitely retrograding.
it was wild. So yes, so I'm gonna do inspo first, and then move us into crown chakra, and then we will be there. If you're here with us right now, wherever you're watching, feel free to share us with 5 friends. Um, this is a really easily digestible program that we do for free 99. So please feel free to share with your friends. Um, and the inspo today is We the Urban, which is just was posted an hour ago. I was like, I don't have any inspo, but yes, I do. Grief is the love we no longer know where to place. Oh, that's deep. Whoa. Grief is the love we no longer know where to place. It is proof that something mattered, that something touched you so deeply, it still lingers even in its absence. And that's the cruel beauty of it. Grief only exists where love once did. You will take, nope, that's not what it says at all. You will always be your oldest friend. Take care of yourself. Overthinkers thrive with partners who naturally express their love through reassurance. The kind of love that speaks often, not out of obligation or toxicity, but because their language is unburdened words of affirmation. Hold on. Read it one more time. Read it one more time, Taylor. Overthinkers thrive with partners who naturally express their love through reassurance. The kind of love that speaks often, not out of obligation or toxicity, but because their language is unburdened words of affirmation. Detachment is power. Acceptance is power. Clarity is power. You are not hard to love. You were just trying to bloom in places that didn't have enough light. This one's long. We're releasing. I release. I release the fear of not being enough. I release the fear of being too much. I release the fear of my own power. I release the fear of being known. I release the fear of success. I release the fear of failure. I release the fear of change. I release the fear of the unknown. I release the fear of my future. I release the fear of being wrong. I release the fear of asserting myself. I release the fear of asking for help. I release the fear of confronting my emotions. I release the fear of being seen. I release the fear of not reaching my potential. I release the fear of fucking up. I release the fear of not having enough money. I release the fear of being loved. I release the fear of losing people. I release the fear of moving forward. I release the fear of starting anew. I release the fear of being forgotten. Please don't worry. Better is on the way. Take care of yourself now so you'll have the strength to receive it, the clarity to recognize it, and the peace to sustain it when it arrives. Prioritize ease, prioritize alignment, prioritize peace, prioritize discipline, prioritize prioritize privacy, prioritize morning silence, prioritize healing, prioritize mindfulness, prioritize processing time, prioritize good sleep, prioritize your mental health, prioritize yourself. Good things are coming, good things are happening. I hope you never forget just how loved you are. The energy for April feels rooted in self-respect, progress, peace, and effort. And then they have an advertisement for their wallpapers, which you can get at their bio. Okay, moving on to Crown Chakra from last week. The theme from literally yesterday was oneness with nature. You know, last week was nurturing nature, and we are in love for the planet month. So here we go. I'm going to read down it really quick, and then we'll do all the exercises and stuff in root chakra for today. So the crown chakra connects us to the universal consciousness. The earth is not separate from us. We are a part of a vast ecosystem. I think like 3 or 4 times this week in the clubhouse rooms, which are at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern daily, there is a social event that we are just plants. we are just plants. Humans are plants. So if that helps you connect, then utilize it. Honoring the earth is a spiritual practice. Oneness meditation. Visualize yourself as part of nature, breathing in unity with all life. I'm going to ask Dr. Flo a question about that in just a second. The affirmation from yesterday was, I am one with the earth and I honor it in all I do. The actionable practice, reduce waste by committing to zero waste, to a zero waste challenge for a day. Spend time in silent gratitude in nature. And that blurb you just heard was Dr. Flo sharing with 5 people. Y'all can do the same. And the last part is to reflect on the spiritual connection to the planet. I want to invite you to treat environmental stewardship as an ongoing practice of love. And the final encouragement from last week, nature nurtures us every day. Let's return the favor. Stewardship is a long practice of love, mindfulness, and action. This is the question that they left, or that our show notes left, but I have a different question for Dr. Flo. What's one way you'll nurture the earth today? And share that in the comments wherever you are, if you're here with us right now or you're listening in later. I wanted to go back to this, visualize yourself as a part of nature. If you were not a human and you were in nature, what would you be? What would you be?
A koala bear.
Okay.
And they are more ferocious and fierce than you think. They make sounds that you don't think they do.
At all.
Tara sent me one of those clips in the middle of the night. That's why I don't sleep as well as I could, folks. Both the caffeine and threads and random
Blizzard takes me out every time it shows up on my feed, and now it's just there. I get it every time.
Well, they know that that's how they're going to get 10-second views out of you, so they're like, just put something really bizarre sounding and she'll stay and share it, and then you sharing it with me is how it's going to be in your For You page forever, depending on whether it's the Amazon For You page or the X sponsored For You page. We don't know in the next 75 days what that's going to look like, but this isn't Deconstruction Junction yet, folks. Not yet. We're coming soon. Definitely a koala bear. Eucalyptus leaves are poisonous to most organisms in the forest. However, koala bears have them as a casual snack.
Wow.
Unaffected.
special food source.
But I would love to come back to the planet as a koala bear. But not just any koala bear, one of the ones that's in the Australian preserves, like a show koala bear. Like he's getting like the best kiwis, the best bananas, the best berries. He's getting the freshest water. It's been filtered. Like the 501c3 wildlife reserve koala bear is my specific request. Not a wild koala that has to run from the forest fires and shit. I want the one that's coming to be pet above the waist, please. Above the waist.
Okay, so you don't like zoos, but wildlife reserves are good.
I'm not a fan of zoo. We've talked about this before on TikTok and beyond, and we talk about it personally a lot. I am a fan. I'm not a fan of zoos. I am a fan of the animals being cared for. Like, I mean, the animals and the San Diego Zoo are having better quality of care than a kid in Boise, Idaho.
That's true.
You know, the great apes in your local zoo exhibit are food stable.
They are.
We cannot do that for all the children of America. So I'm like, yo, I'm not sure if I really like the animals being caged like that. However, you know, I see the way the lions and the tigers eat when they're not trying to like eat their handlers. And they eat really well, you know.
And some of them even get boops. Like I always see on TikTok, like people like boop. They boop the cats. They boop.
Oh, the large cats.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, y'all know I'm all about the Tiger King and shit like that. I love. For me, it's less the cats. It's more the person. Like, what makes a person want to go boop? Have you seen any of the Russian ones, the Russian bear videos, where they're like out just playing in the snow with large?
Like,
yeah.
Boop.
God grant me the audacity of a person who can boop.
Good Lord.
A large cat.
Good Lord.
Shall we cross over?
Week 15. Here we go.
So, this week, y'all, is going to be one of our favorite weeks to hopefully do every day, the best we can. We are working on our 74th week of producing this version of content for the world.
I literally shared today on Facebook. I had a memory of doing Crown Chakra last year on today. So I shared it.
Oh, wow.
Doing live. So we have definitely been doing this.
Because sometimes the days don't land that way on the calendar. And y'all, I do not have a cocaine issue. It's allergies. I just like literally plugged one on my nose and like sniffed it. And I'm like, no, it's not.
That was me this morning when I woke up. I looked at my phone and Dr. Flo was sending things to the chat and it was like 6:45 my time and I was like,
yeah, I'm trying to keep it clear, y'all. It was like yellow and green day before yesterday. Shout out to all the people who are dealing with allergies and just trying to stay clear in their rhinus region. I don't know why I came out that way. Anyway, it's week 15. It's all about food and love. This week, we're going to celebrate food as a sacred love language that connects us to the earth and also to each other. And of course, each day is going to bring a chakra connection, a mindfulness practice, a nourishment teaching this week that's going to combine and love, and also a call to action. So as you tune into our individual YouTubes and our collective operations, you're going to just hear a bunch of juicy stuff this week. Tara and I both run independent businesses, independent coaching and service practices, and this is something where we get to stay tethered in a healthy way to each other week after week. And so for those of you who tune in on TikTok or on YouTube or Facebook and are following along, including our donors and our sponsors, super, super grateful because yes, yes. And yes, a broken clock I am. And every Sunday we come into the roots. What's been so healthy about this over the last 74 weeks with Tara is that I know that on Sunday we're going to say something to each other or about each other that is going to make for a stronger week. You know, you don't want to walk into the week, certainly not know what you're doing. The inside joke that you all can't hear or see is that I told Tara that there was something new to our show notes that were added by the new GPT. She goes, I don't know, that's always there. And I'm like, since week 10, it's been there. And I'm like, you know, you learn as a real husband and a work husband that sometimes just yes,
Smile and nod,
dear.
because there's two themes. There's the grounded nourishment, which is the theme today, and then there's another thing that says theme: food
It's
and
how we're gonna use
stability,
it.
ancestry, and survival.
We're going deeper, y'all. So we got like a love for the planet month, then we got food and love week, and then we've got the grounded nourishment that is root chakra day, where we're gonna talk about food as stability, food as ancestry, and food as survival. Now, Tara, as we kick off today, before I go into the intro of the root chakra, is there any kind of foods that you feel are like ancestral to you? Like this, and while you're thinking about that, I'm gonna frame it by giving a shout out to my late great grandmother Rosa. Wood stove in the red clay dirt of rural Virginia. Like I watched this woman go out in the snow and put the actual wood into the wood burning stove.
Okay.
And her slow roasted chicken in the cast iron on top of that particular oven, blackened in the ways that you resist,
Except for on hot dogs.
except for on hot dogs.
It's the only place it belongs.
But my grandmother had a way of kissing the protein, and because it's cast iron, and because it's got like that ancestral. Have you ever eaten out of cast iron? That's not like a. That's not like a. I'm sorry. I should know you better than this. I would fail at.
Girl, it's in the will that I get my grandmother's cast iron.
It's in the well. But have you ever, up until now, have you ever consistently? I've had several pieces that I've had to leave behind for like gigs and stuff. Have you ever like cooked?
I have two cast iron 12-inch skillets, and then I have a grill pan that is cast iron, and
You have
then
one?
huh?
I'm sorry. Start over again because I'm doing the ADHD thing that people hate in the comment cards.
I have two 12-inch cast iron skillets, a grill pan that is cast iron, and then I have a miniature cast iron skillet.
And by grill pan, you're talking about like the square one that has the raised ridges in it. So that, oh my God, girl. Let me tell you something. If I had not moved so many times, and I mean, I have to have a light life and even now a lighter husband because, like, I need to be able to be in different locations. I need to be singing, not lighter in his weight, but like lighter in his energy. Like, he's got to be ready to throw shit in two bags and like take on the world.
Oh,
And part of that is not a grill cast iron pan. I had one of those in New York. I love them because
you
all
did.
throughout the year, especially in states like Minnesota, you don't have to leave the house to get that grilled flavor and texture. And you've made me remember what that was like. So yes, I did know in the recesses of my mind that you were a cast iron holder. And so that takes me even back to the prompt, like my grandmother's chicken. Poppy has also seen Poppy um, has been blessed to be able to make an amazing southern home fried skillet potato and like
I
southern
call
home
American fries, but Dr. Flo doesn't like it when I call it American fries.
American fries. See, here comes from the great state of Nebraska.
No, that's from
American
Mississippi.
fries.
That's what Daddy calls them.
Wait, I put American fires, and that's a dyslexia. Oh yes, yes. But see, no. These are kind of American fries. I get it. American fries, home fries. Okay, they're different versions. Not the
Different.
cubed. Poppy Water makes the thin sliced
I don't make
southern.
the cubed either. I make the thin sliced with a little bit of onion on the top, but you put the onion in later. You start it in shortening if you're not vegan. Um, you start it in shortening and you add butter. It's a mixture of
Yeah,
shortening and butter in the cast iron, and you let that go. And then you make your layer of potatoes. You let
yes,
the
ma'am.
potatoes cook and get crispy on both sides. And
Yes,
then you
ma'am.
put the onion in so the onion doesn't burn. And you got salt and pepper, and that's it.
but it's like slow heat. And my great grandmother, excuse me. I'm not sure if I told you, my great grandmother is actually where the singing comes from. She was a church soloist and would do amazing hymn solos. My great grandma Rosa, like, would just sing like operatically over the entire church. I never shared that with
I don't
you.
think I
That's
knew that. No.
yeah, because it makes me a little
Weepy.
yeah. Poppy makes his lady's potatoes, and I've wept into the plate about it. It's something that reminds me of a very grounded, rooted, loving place. We're talking about black people, my people, who pulled the potatoes out the ground in the yard,
Yeah.
and then sliced them and put them on the wood fire stove. It took time to make that. I don't think that I appreciated it as a child. It was just yummy food to me. Yummy rustic food. I mean, it's like there's wood going into the stove.
Yeah.
When did you do that last?
My I have two sort of different stories. I mean, there's several dishes that I feel like are very much uh, like have been passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down. But what is most interesting, um, I joke around that I have northern cooking and southern cooking in my family, but the reality is that it's actually mostly southern cooking, and the reason that is because my grandma, she didn't necessarily learn to cook, but she and my grandpa got married when they were very young. My grandpa entered the Navy when he was 15 illegally, and sounds like it's bottle time. Um, and they got married. They met and they got married in like 3 months after meeting. It's crazy. So anyway, but Grandpa is from Arkansas. This is my white grandfather, y'all. Because my dad's family is from Mississippi. But so my grandma learned to cook Southern fried chicken, Southern, fried green tomatoes. Poppy and I were talking the other day about the cornmeal. Um, that fried green tomatoes are just cornmeal, and like fish, you just put cornmeal on. Like that kind of stuff and no milk with the fish. Like that was a thing. So I feel like a lot of the dishes that my grandma makes, like the way that she makes roast, um, is very much like down south. But when I think about my dad's family, the recipe that like comes through. Oh, and then the French strawberry dessert. Nobody ever knows what I'm talking about when I talk about that, but my grandma makes it. I love a French strawberry dessert. Salsa, or is it pasta salad?
It's a pasta salad base. It's just the marinated vegetables that's going
Yeah,
into yeah. Mise
yeah.
en place. It looks
Um,
amazing, King.
it looks delicious. On the other side of the family, the recipe that I feel like got passed down is there's two. The ribs and the barbecue sauce that my uncle makes. He lives in Chicago, but he's from Mississippi, obviously. But like, oh my god, you have never had a rib like that. Never
You
had a
ain't never had a rib, never had a rib. You ain't never had a rib, never had a rib.
rib. You ain't never had a rib like that. Um, but the other thing is, and y'all have heard me talk about this before, the caramel cake, the caramel pound cake with the homemade caramel icing
Oh
and
yes.
the authentic caramel pound cake that you got to sit
Wait,
down to
wait,
eat your piece of
wait now, because this is a debate amongst the Nigers, the ninjas. This is a debate. Is caramel cake to you a caramel flavored cake, or
no,
is it a yellow cake with caramel drippings?
it is a
Oh,
pound cake.
oh.
Our families is a pound cake cooked in a bundt pan. Okay,
I'll let you
a
complete
bundt
because then Poppy has commentary, and I'm gonna hand him a microphone so he can get on the pod.
a bundt pan, and then you take it out, and it's like thick frosting. When you freeze it, it like chips off. It's like caramel. It's like caramel candy
Come and
on
talk
the
to
side.
Terry. Get your headphones
I,
on.
I use it.
You want to put the vegetables in it? Guest host.
You scrape the rest of them that's in the bowl
Yeah.
on there.
Here.
Yeah, just get all the little extra bit with the rubber scraper for me. Don't waste nothing. Not a thing. Ooh,
Oh,
and
girl, look at your hair.
as I'm saying, y'all get to see wig today.
You're so beautiful.
Thank you. You are too. Takes one to know one. Um, T. My personal, well, not her, but T and her T. Caramel cake can be made with yellow cake mix or any cake mix. If you wanna, okay, that's the technical. And if you're doing it right, you're using yellow cake mix. It's just yellow cake and caramel.
From scratch pound cake. From scratch pound cake with caramel ice. That
Yes, that's how my aunt
just
makes it. That's how my aunt
mm,
makes it. She used to work at the bakery in Kroger
yeah.
most of my childhood, and she makes it yellow cake mix style. Make the yellow
You,
cake
you you well
later.
maybe you can't have caramel. Can you have caramel?
Well, caramel's just it's just sugar and like
Um,
well they use butter, but I've done it with oil and I've done it with the vegan butter.
oh,
I
okay.
can make caramel with the vegan butter
Yeah.
because
Yeah, because it's just like browned
yeah, it's
sugar.
like brown sugar melted down in butter, or you can use oil, but
Yeah.
it's not as thick or it takes longer. I've used
Yeah.
oil, but it took longer to get the consistency that I like.
Right.
A lot longer.
Correct. I
Caramel
got
cake
you.
is good, but it's a toothache waiting to happen. Personally,
That part.
like
Uh,
one slice, the
give us
best.
the rundown on your pasta salad that you just sent to the chat.
Oh, so the pasta salad, I used like they had a big old thing of parsley. I guess the parsley's in season and all the so big size of my head packets. I used probably half that much of fresh parsley in the mix. So about a half of that of fresh parsley, and then I used a whole red bell pepper, a whole orange bell pepper, half a yellow and half a green bell pepper, a whole long zucchini, and I feel like there was something else green. I have not added. I was going to add like the little spring mix to it, but I decided to just leave that alone because that could be on the side. We could put that on.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then I used 4 tomatoes. I was going to just use
Okay.
3 tomatoes, but there was one in the pack that was mushy, and she wasn't going to last that long. So I was like,
I
let me.
feel like I should send you the recipe to a quinoa salad that I made last summer. It has quinoa, bell peppers, onions, like a homemade vinaigrette,
Ooh,
kind
that
of
sounds good.
spicy. Like I'll send it to you because it was really good.
I'm working on a vegan dressing recipe that's
Yum.
going to involve quinoa to get
Yeah.
that texture like we want. And I think it's going to be a lot easier now that I found like gluten-free vegan cornbread mix. Like
There you
and
go.
it's going down when I figure out how to do it because the way I miss dressing is my favorite thing. Okay, not to be
Hmm.
confused with stovetop. Stovetop, she ain't no shade. She's a good girl, but they're just not the same girl. They're just not the
I hear
same.
that.
Okay, and
Hmm.
stuffing. Some people's stuffing is borderline dressing, and some people's stuffing is a whole nother thing. But yes, that's the tea. But yeah, just some red pepper flakes and some fresh cracked black pepper in there, a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt, and of course
Flavor.
pasta.
You get it.
And that's
Okay.
tea.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, the hook came. I'm get off stage.
Not the just
Not the hook. Take your time. We love you. All right. We are starting in on the intro to the root chakra, is where I think we have left off.
thank you, Poppy.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. I said, and we love you. That's what I said. Thank you, and we love you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, go for it. Intro to the root chakra.
So the root chakra governs our safety and our grounding. We talk about it every Sunday here because you don't want to go into your week feeling like you are flying from a flagpole in the midst of a tornado. And so every Sunday we gather at some point, and you can catch us on the replays on the Substack or listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, right? And every Sunday we take a moment to just breathe. Tara led us through a breathing exercise this morning on a social audio app called Clubhouse. Every Sunday we breathe. and we remember the things that are governing our safety and our grounding. All of our food systems begin with the soil, and the more rooted our food is, the more rooted our lives are. Have you ever noticed that when you eat a bunch of like processed foods and what they would call like junk foods and things, your body sometimes, I mean, I love it. It tastes so good. Y'all know I love a Haribo. I've never met a Haribo that didn't want to be my friend. My teeth only moved a little bit. But those types of foods aren't always nourishing while salty and sweet and nice. It's always the root vegetables. These which potatoes, right? I was like these root vegetables, zucchini. That's not how that goes. But it's always the root vegetables, potatoes. Not at all. Tara is
Carrot,
actually a resident farmer.
parsnips, which I kind of want to get into parsnips this summer. I think beets are underground as well. I think they're considered root vegetables, as well as I believe a rutabaga is a underground.
Uh, uh, uh,
Sweet potatoes, okay? You know, like there's a lot of root vegetables.
Good time of beets. Let's see. How long is it gonna take you? Did you want to like commit to this? 7 to 8 weeks after they're planted. Young tender tops, which is what I anyway, often have a mild quality, but the greens can be used until they get large and strong flavored. Young
Onions. Onions are
yeah,
a root vegetable, which I'm only bringing up onions, and you said you can use the tops, which is why I was thinking about this. I saw this video this morning. Somebody was holding up an onion that had sprouted, and they were like, "So are these green onions? Can I use them?" And I didn't know this, and I did not verify. But in the comment section, people were like, "Those are actually called spring onions, and yes, you can cut them off and use them as long as you rinse them." And I was like, "Oh my god, what?" Um, Obviously, green onions are just onions that like don't act. They're a different like breed. They're a different strain of onion. They're still an onion, but they don't grow as big of a bulb. But these were a spring onion. Onions don't grow particularly well here, but green onions do. So I'm going to grow those this summer.
what do you call the onions? This is a childhood memory that you just brought up for me on the live. What do you call the little onions that grow in the yard?
There's onions that grow in the yard.
As a child, I remember like playing outside before the internet, and there were onions. You could pull them up, and they smelled onions that grow.
Scallions, leeks.
If you have onions growing in your yard, they're likely wild onions or wild garlic. Yeah, as a kid, we would pull these out the yard, and you could crush them, and it's called onion grass.
I am astounded.
Yeah, so we would use those as my little. I would use rocks and stuff and like
Yeah.
sticks, and I would use those as my little imaginary dishes. I'm like, do you like the onion flavor? And like, oh my god, I could smell it like as a kid.
Wow.
Onions that grow in your yard in Nebraska, I guess.
No, mushrooms did and do
Okay.
in my yard up here, but those are not vegetables, y'all. Those are fungi. Uh,
Oh, I'm a fun guy.
a fungi. You are a fun guy.
You take folks through a mindfulness practice.
Yes. I had to breathe because the second word is breath. The mindfulness practice today, grounding breath while holding a fruit or vegetable. I do not have a fruit or vegetable. I literally have to put in an order because I don't have. I'm out.
I'm going to
I'm
get
out.
one for
Okay.
keep going.
But visualize its journey from earth to your hands. I would really advise you to maybe dream up what you prefer that journey was, because I'm not sure that journey is exactly nice in this day and age. But there is Dr. Flo's fruit. So grounding breath while holding a fruit or vegetable. And the affirmation, I am nourished by the earth and grounded in its abundance. I am nourished by the earth and grounded in its abundance.
Have y'all considered supporting local farmer markets and also looking into regenerative agriculture? These practices of harvesting food and plants from the earth in a way that doesn't deplete the soil. I asked Tara earlier in the week, I said, are you changing out the zucchinis this year because you got too many from last year for the zucchini bread? Or are you doing it because you're trying to regenerate the soil? And your answer was,
There's too many in the freezer. But also you really, there are certain plants that don't take as much from your soil, of which squash are. I will probably grow a different kind of squash. I might grow yellow squash this summer. But tomatoes you have to move every single year unless you replenish your soil pretty drastically. So I have to move the tomatoes. And I'm thinking about getting a raised flower bed to help me uh, not have to deal with the bunnies. My bunnies are a problem, and I've seen about 5 now outside. So
bunnies gone bunny, girl. Bunnies
they
gone bunny.
they do try to eat. Um,
They do more than eat.
they,
So, do you think that eating close to the source of your food deepens your relationship with it? Do you feel like a greater affinity to your personal zucchinis than the ones at the grocery store?
I think they taste better. Like, and this is also the thing about like farmers markets and stuff. I love farmers markets in the summer. Most people know me. Like, I will go spend $15 on 3 tomatoes, because the flavor is just so much better.
Do you like
Uh,
beefsteak tomatoes
The
like the
big
giant?
tomatoes, I bought like a tomato that was almost a pound last summer. It was huge. Um, because my tomatoes didn't really produce the way that they should, because I did not move them far enough away from the soil they were in the previous year. So we do have to we have to work on that this year. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that for me, I don't know that it deepens my relationship with the earth as much as it deepens my relationship with like my ability to sustain on the planet. Like, and Dr. Flo kind of jokes about this, but I think it's also kind of serious that like if the grocery sources and agriculture like collapsed, first of all, two of my longtime friends, like literally like 15-year friends, they both came from farms. One from a dairy farm and one from like an actual agriculture farm.
Shout out to the
And
cows. Shout out to the cows.
so like I'm like, I'll be fine. But also I grow my own food. Like in the summer, we buy so much less um vegetables. And actually I grew strawberries one summer. Those got eaten by the bunnies last summer, but they did come back. Did you know strawberries are perennial plants?
I did not know that, but I know that you're on my mental health safety plan. We haven't talked about that in a while in here, but on Root Chakra Day, we should talk about mental health safety plan. Make sure you have like you know who where your people are. If you have like a mental breakdown or you're crashing out, you should have like a crash out list. Like who are the like 5 or 7 people? They won't all be available at the same time, but who are like 5 to 7 people that if I'm crashing the fuck out in life, they're part of my mental health
Yeah.
safety plan. That's important. Also, I have like a bug out apocalyptic plan. Like, who am I going to try to get to who's got the zucchinis frozen from last year? If you know, Tara's also
and
on that list.
and
But
who
you got
wouldn't need electricity to keep them frozen because we have crazy winters in Minnesota?
exactly. That's
Me.
where the bodies are buried too. So yeah. Anyway,
Yep.
eat under the snow. Uncle Fester is thawing. So yeah, eating close to the source deepens our relationships with the planet. That's a joke, everybody. Don't call the feds on me. And we want to talk in our closing segments or moments about food deserts. If you're not familiar with what a food desert is, it's a space in the country in many locations where people don't have access to grocery stores, markets, and places to get food. This actually happens more than you think it does. People have to travel miles sometimes in order to get access to good food, things that are not processed or sent from like Amazon. And it's important that we talk about food deserts and equitable access today because everybody needs to eat. And everyone needs to eat well to have a proper brain chemistry so that they can have a loved and lovable life. I mean, the brain chemistry doesn't make your life loved and lovable, but it certainly brings the happiness, the healthiness, and the freedom that we also talk about a lot here. What do you know about food deserts, Tara, and how they affect all kinds of communities? If the only thing you have in your neighborhood is a Whole Foods, I think that's also a socioeconomic food desert as well because half of your
Yes.
paychecks can go to it.
Yeah. So there's two things that are coming up for me here. Number one, my grandma actually lives in an area that is a food desert. She has to drive at least 30 miles to get groceries. Not anymore. Before she moved into the home. Um, but before, she could go get milk at the gas station that was 5 minutes down the street. But anything else, you had to drive much further, which is pretty crazy to think about. Um, and actually, my dad lives in the middle of literally nowhere, and the Piggly Wiggly is like 20 minutes away. So
Not the Piggly Wiggly.
it's the that's the closest one, and then there's a Wally World. But I guess there's three things that come up for me. So the second one is that when we're talking about boycotts and we're talking about boycotting Target and Walgreens or Walmart, I understand why, but the reason why there is so much pushback is because oftentimes those places are the places in the food deserts as the one singular place that people can get food for an affordable price and not have to drive 2 hours to get their groceries. So just remember that. And then number three, I wanted to lift that food deserts can happen really, really quickly. I can think of all those places. I can think of those instances. I can think of like in rural Minnesota, those people are, they come into St. Cloud once a week, you know, from out in rural places to go to the Walmart to get their food. But also during the uprisings for George Floyd's murder, um, places were burned, and Cup Foods, which is literally like he was murdered outside of that, had to close down, and it was one of the few grocery stores and like affordable places in North Minneapolis. And so, because places were being burned down, and because that store was closed because of the uprisings, and a lot of the places were boarded up at that time for protection against white supremacists that were here, because it was not black people burning those businesses, folks. That would be the white people that came in from out of state. Anyway, so that caused a food desert, and that's why you saw like massive people coming from the suburbs who were able to go to Costco and able to go to Walmart, bringing food down to North Minneapolis. So it can happen really quickly. I mean, that happened in like 5 days, and it remains a food desert there. So
and let's not ever, this isn't Deconstruction Junction, but let's never get twisted that all of what we just discussed is orchestrated by capitalism.
Correct.
I'm not sure if you saw on Threads the video of the young woman being held against the wall by the NYPD for like selling fruits and vegetables in the subway system. It's apples and oranges a bit, except that it's all fruit that's being kind of gate kept, and it's nuts. We want to encourage you all to buy one local or organic item this week if you can. You may not be able to. I'm not even sure if I believe in organic sometimes. I think it's like a labeling thing. But try to make a healthy choice for you. We try not to be prescriptive and tell people what to do here, because we certainly don't want to be told what the fuck to do. We're very grown and very adult here. However, may we suggest that you make a healthier choice for yourself and a healthier choice for the planet, so you can feel good just that day about, like this pasta salad. It's a gluten-free pasta salad. It's got quinoa and rice pasta as the base. Whatever the little tube ones are called, they have names. It's not bow tie. It's a little penne. Yeah. Thank you. It is a penne. It's a penne. And so, but as we eat this quinoa rice penne, and the vegetables that have been freshly chopped, and I'm gonna put some feta on top, and I'm gonna grill some chicken and like thin slice it and put it. You don't do feta either. She don't do eggs, except for in the egg drop soup. Nasty and rude. She don't do avocados.
What?
Not in the pasta salsa, Tara's. She don't do peas.
No.
Yeah. And she don't do feta, we learned today. Do you do soft cheeses? Any soft cheeses? Brie?
I love brie.
What?
I
Why do you
like
draw a line
brie. I like goat
at feta?
cheese. I
We're
just
not pushing you.
don't like
Like goat
feta.
cheese. Yeah,
I
feta's
love a
not your
goat
thing.
cheese, like goat cheese, spinach, and strawberry salad with a balsamic vinaigrette and a little bit of pepper, black pepper, is my jam.
Feta is from Greece, made of meat. Sorry, I'm sorry. Like sometimes I swear to God, I have a thing. Feta cheese is a white, soft, or semi-soft cheese that originates in Greece, specifically from the milk of sheep and traditionally a small percentage of goat's milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't like it. It's not even a texture thing. It's a flavor thing. That one's a
Wait,
flavor thing. A
it's
lot of the other things that I
too
don't like
pungent
are
for you,
texture things.
too pungent and like too cheesy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not the biggest fan of cheese, period. So I like
Oh,
mild cheese,
oh,
you know?
I like a stinky cheese.
Fun
Uh,
true.
also
Stinky
consider
winky.
everybody. Say it again.
I said stinky winky.
Stinky, a smelly smell, a smelly, smelly smell. We want to invite you all to consider also journaling, as I did out loud with all of you on today's podcast episode, about how a meal that you've had in your life made you feel safe, rooted, and held. There's such a psychosomatic connection between food and our lives and our stability and our ancestry and survival. So I hope today that you're eating something for your survival, but also perhaps from this episode being a bit more mindful about how your food connects you to all of us and also deeper to yourself. On behalf of Terra Priolo Studio, Poppy Water 33, awesome Angie, Loretta, Jimmy Jams, Her Story True, Cece, Joshua, and a bunch of other folks that are in network, we invite you today to stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable. Know that you are so loved and lovable that no one can touch it. You're so loved and lovable that you can have exactly the kind of week that you believe you deserve. Tara and I have to take a small break and then come back and tape this week's lately filed Deconstruction Junction. But I asked her before we even went live today, or maybe it was on this podcast, time slips for me. How are you feeling about your flow state today? You
You
know,
did ask that, I think, at the top. Yeah. Good.
and so just being in the flow, and I'm not just saying that because it's the name I go by, just being in your flow, whatever it is. Don't let anybody rush your flow. Don't let anybody slow your flow down. And if you need to just kind of lazy river in life and just float for the day, sometimes your flow is a float. And we invite you to just rest in that. One of the major sayings that we have here that came from a sacred text that you all may know about, it says, "Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am joy. Be still and know that I am peace." What are you going to be still and know this week in your life? We'll see y'all around. We love you so much. I think we're in week 74. Tara, I will be here every other day to love on you. Please reach out to us in the WhatsApp channel, Discord server, wherever you see us around. Just be free to love us, and we will be free to love you. Take care.